Michael, what was supposed to be a quiet window ended up being quite busy. While you rarely get all of the players that you want, are you happy enough with what you managed to do?
Yeah, very happy with the business that we did. I suppose the only one that we were very close to doing another player from the Premier League, but unfortunately there was a little injury involved there, so that fell through. But we sort of resurrected the option to bring obviously Liam Moore in for Tom Ince right at the end as well in a swap deal. So yeah, I think the players we brought have improved the squad. We obviously have to see evidence of that, in the second half of the season. But yeah, we're pleased with the business that we've done.
And I think it's fair to say you should be congratulated on making a small profit, which is something that hasn't happened at Stoke in many a transfer window.
Yeah, well, I think it's important. We've not paid for very many players. I think we obviously bought Jordan Thompson for quite a small fee when he came in the first window. We bought Jacob, I think, then in the summer window, and then we've bought Ben Wilmot, Alfie Doughty, and Sam Surridge. So if you look at where we've spent money, it's all on players at the time who were 22, 21, 22, around that age, a little bit younger, sometimes 23, maybe in Jordan's case. So yeah, look, that always gives you the ability to possibly sell the player. The other thing that comes into that equation is the contract that the player on. If you bring a player in and his contract is too high, it makes it very difficult to move him on in those situations. So I think it shows where what we're trying to do now as a club, that when we do spend money, we obviously hope that it'll always work out in our favour. But in the case of Sam, I didn't think that he'd settled that well, if I'm honest. We'd had a few conversations about that. I think he was a young lad in terms of his football experience and had never really lived away from Bournemouth, which was his hometown club. So I just felt, that it was in his interest and our interest to do a permanent. We were initially looking at a loan to get him game time, but we felt that when the permanent option came up, it was the right thing for the club and the right thing for the player.
Well, of the latest new players, you've got Maja, who's obviously young and fulfills the criteria you're looking for. You'll hope that he'll be the striker he was at Sunderland, and then you balance that out with Moore being versatile and experienced.
Yeah, I mean, we brought Maja in, just, we didn't really believe we would get it done. Josh made quite a sacrifice to come here as well, which is really encouraging when a player does that. Andy Cousins had been involved in it really from the start, so it was a really good one to be able to do. We knew the boy a little bit because Paul Walsh, our head of sports science, had worked with him at Sunderland, so he knew what type of lad he is and was in very high praise of him as well. So I think, given where Josh is at this stage of his career, I think it's a really good piece of business for us. And he's looked bright in training. I think he needs to play a little bit. I'll be honest. He's not had that much game time in the first half of the season, but he has been at Bordeaux, so the competition for places will be high there. And Liam was a really good option for us to do. I think, he's had a little bit of a difficult first half of the season at Reading, but I think if you look back over the Championship, he'd be very sought after by a lot of clubs and has had obviously Premier League links in the past. So to do that deal, I felt made sense for us as a squad, because we were very heavy in midfield players and a little bit light in terms of centre backs. So again, it wasn't really a reflection on Thomas. It was more what we felt was the right thing for the squad.
Well, on to the cup game against Wigan. You'll have to make changes anyway, because Jagielka, Jayden Philogene-Bidace and Baker, I think, are all cup tied. But Wigan drew with Oxford in their last game, and they're on a they're on a great run of form, actually, and they're second in the table. So they come with nothing to lose, really. It'll be a tough game, and you'll have to start like you finished the second half at Huddersfield, where you were moving the ball better and you had much more energy.
Yeah, look, we expect a tough game. I was at that game against Oxford on Tuesday night, so I know what to expect. They made quite a lot of in-game changes tactically as well, which was quite interesting. I thought particularly first half Oxford were the better team, and probably feel that they could have won the game. But Wigan are having a very good season, as you rightly say. Promotion is the thing that they're focused on, and we have to be ready to deal with that. They're a team that'll get the ball forward quickly. They'll compete a lot for second ball and they'll get up in the game. But we have to get the ball down and play and impose ourselves on the game. And, you know, it was difficult. The first half of the game was difficult against Huddersfield, but Huddersfield are a good team and they're the home team and they've had a lot of energy themselves. So, you know, at times we played into their hands a little bit, but we still created 2 or 3 really good chances in the first half. We had a clear-cut penalty that wasn't given, and the goalkeeper made 2 good saves, one from Jayden and one from Mario. So, you know, I thought, but we ground our way into the game, and then second half, I thought we were by clear the better team and the dominant force in the game, and got the very least of what we deserved, obviously, in the point that we took away.
Well, after the Huddersfield game, you said that you'd give the players a few days off and recharge your own batteries too. How's things gone since they've come back in?
Good. I mean, we don't get very many full weeks, so they got the option. They obviously had the Saturday, Sunday. We gave them Monday, and then they've been in some 4-day preparation and lead in. It also allowed us to get the transfer window out of the way, so the players weren't in the building on Monday, which was pretty chaotic in here, and there's a lot of phone calls about players either coming in or players going out or agents offering you players. So all of that was a very long day on Monday for the staff. But as I say, the players it was better not to have them in the building on that day anyway. And, you know, they've been good since they came back in. And
what's the update injury-wise?
Pretty good. Obviously, Mario's got a bit of a knee injury that'll probably keep him out for 3 to 4 weeks, unfortunately. Romain is moving well. Just watched him this morning, so he steps up his rehab again next week. He'll be with he's still with the medical team on the grass. He'll now do next week with the strength conditioning team on the grass, with a view of going into training the next week. So he's probably just about a week away, really, from coming back in our thoughts. Seema's still at Brighton, recuperating from the surgery that he had, but we hope that he will be back in the building on the 21st of February is the proposed date for that. And I think other than that, we're pretty okay. You know, I think
Joe Bursick back fully fit.
Joe Bursick is back, yeah, and in contention for tomorrow, yeah.
And I noticed that Tashin Oakley-Booth had to come off with an injury. I think it was the day after there was a proposed move to Burton. He's having no luck, is he?
No, he's not. You know, that was it was an opportunity for Tashan to go and play. Unfortunately, he didn't want to do that, so that ultimately always remains the player's choice. I thought it was the wrong choice, but I can only advise the player. He's under contract, and he played in the 23s game then on Tuesday, and reported a tight groin. I think he came off more as a precaution because he's been training the rest of the week.
And you have to be mindful that you've got a game against Swansea on Tuesday, but on paper you've got a much better and more sustainable squad now than you had at the start of January. A win in the cup and a good draw wouldn't do you any harm, would it?
No, not at all. I think the squad has good balance about it. We have the ability to cover a lot of positions and play in different systems, I think, which is good. We also have a lot of flexibility and I think more energy in the squad as well, which I think is important. And we have a lot of players with a lot to play for, whether they're here on loan or whether they're in the last 6 months of their contract. They're at the stage where performances reap rewards, whether that's on an individual basis or on a team basis. And we want to have a good cup run, and equally we want to make sure that we finish strong in the last 18 league games that we have. And the cup having a 20-man squad and 5 subs, it gives you a lot more flexibility. We really should have that in the league as well, to be honest. It would make sense, I think, to keep that and have it in the league regardless of the COVID situation. I just think it gives players more chance to recuperate. It gives you a better way to use your squad as well, and so it's a welcome change from the normal 18-man and the 3-man sub tomorrow.
Just one last one. Nick Powell has played for Wigan and will hopefully at some point play some part in this match tomorrow, and James McLean's played for Stoke and is now at Wigan. Players always seem to try and lift their game against previous clubs. Were you the same?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I always did when I played against one of my old teams, and I that happened quite a bit because I played for a club. So yeah, I'll not say the reason behind that, but that did happen. So yeah, I mean, yeah, look, players, you always want to prove a point when you come back to your old club. And you know, Nick's played against Wigan before. This will be obviously James's first time coming back and playing at Stoke.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. George now, please.
Michael, you just touched on the fact that Wigan obviously are focused, as you are, of getting into a position where they want promotion, and likewise it is your focus. Despite the fact you would like a good cup run, your focus is getting in the playoffs at least and gaining possibly promotion to the Premier League. You see the cup as a nice diversion and to gain some momentum to take that form into the league?
Well, yeah, I think so. You know, I think it gives us an opportunity at home as well. The draw's been a bit kinder to us than it has been in previous years. You know, and we were away to Brentford in the first year I was here. In the second year, we were at home to Leicester, who went on to win it. So we've had 2 home ties against teams from lower divisions. So that gives us, you know, a good opportunity. It doesn't give you any given right, but it gives you a good opportunity to progress. And yeah, I think we just got to we just got to concentrate on our level of performance. You know, we got to churn it out. I said to the players today that, you know, there's a real emphasis for us to sustain not, you know, our performances right through between now and the end of the season in both the cup and obviously in the league, and not, you know, drop off. You know, I think we've had good performances for portions of games at times more recently, but we haven't sustained it for long enough to win enough games recently, and that's what we have to get back to.
But that's what you want and you'll be looking for, but they'll take that same attitude into the game as well, because you've already alluded to, they are a good side, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're in a great run. You know, they're a strong team in League One. They're, I think, reacted well to obviously what happened to them in administration and the relegation, and they've strengthened, I think, in good areas. They've, you know, brought players who are in the Championship, the likes of James, the likes of Graham Shinney, are good examples of players who, you know, for most of their career have been in the Championship or above. And so I think, you know, they're a team which is really focused on trying to get back into the Championship. So it'll be a tough game for us. You
just touched briefly on the fact you've got 2 games in the space of 48 hours, Michael. So would you be looking at it to rotate, or would you just want to put the strongest side out to gain a result and be in the hat for the draw on Monday for the FA Cup?
We pick a team to win the game and it doesn't change. I wouldn't say rotate. We may be able to give game time to some players that haven't played so much recently. But our focus is on winning the game. We've got some new players at the club. We've got some players that are cup tied that obviously will be available to us again on Tuesday night who can't play. So, you know, the key is not to get ahead of ourselves and make sure that we focus on the next game, which is obviously the game tomorrow.
And you've just touched on, you're very pleased with the transfer business you've done with all those players coming in. Are you confident that those players can take you and the club to where you want to be by the end of the season?
Well, my objective coming into the transfer window was to improve the squad. I believe that we've done that, but we have to show that now. It's as simple as that. We've got to show that in the second half of the season with the level of our performances, and it's a continued progress on looking to improve where we are as a team and as a squad. And so yeah, I think we're well positioned to have a good run in the second half of the season. And ultimately, that's the aim for us and for the players, for myself, to push yourself back into contention for a top 6 position.
And finally, from me, Michael, obviously we've seen, sadly, a resurgence in abuse, not only coming from the terraces, but objects being thrown on the pitch. And it's a result of the fact that as you as a manager and other managers, and you've experienced it as the Stoke City manager, so have your players, that if you felt the need, you could take the players off the pitch. Would you consider doing that?
It's not something I've considered, if I'm honest. I haven't been overly aware. I know that there's been abuse of players on social media and the nature of that, but I don't think that I want to get to a point where I'm taking my players off the pitch, to be honest, and that's not something that I've given a lot of thought to.